morning. My name is Joella with UMBC Recreation. We're going to do a nice yoga flow today, about 50 minutes long, focusing on back bends. So please make sure as we move through our practice today that you're listening to your body, and please make sure that you've checked with a healthcare provider before starting a new exercise routine. So we're going to start seated today. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your knees bent in like a cross-legged position, you can extend them in front of you or just sit however is comfortable. Hands can just start resting on your thighs, palms down or up, whichever feels better for you. Sitting up nice and tall. So if you're having a hard time, when you sit down, your knees are way up here, or you're feeling your low back round under, it's probably a good indicator that you could benefit from sitting up on top of something. So if you have a yoga block handy, you could sit on that, or maybe a pillow or rolling up your mat a little bit just to elevate your hips. But again, just find a nice comfortable position. Maybe close your eyes here for a moment. And just notice how this feels in your body. Not really changing anything yet, but just becoming aware of how you're feeling this morning. Just notice your breath. And on your next inhale, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh it out your mouth. And again, nice deep inhale through your nose. And sigh it out. One more like that. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Again, noticing how you're sitting, so you get nice and tall, ears right over shoulders, shoulders over hips, spine's long. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose, and exhale out your nose. Maybe your breath can be a little bit deeper. And this time, taking a nice deep inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, in 5, 4, 3, 2, out 5, 4, 3, 2, in 5, 4, 3, 2, out 5, 4, 3, 2, in 5, 4, 3, 2, out 5, 4, 3, 2. One more, in 4, 3, 2, out 5, 4, 3, 2. And breathe normally. Notice how this feels. Maybe you're breathing a little deeper. On your next inhale, bring your arms out and up, shoulder distance apart, palms facing together. So here, again, making sure you're sitting up nice and tall so you have all 4 natural curves in your spine. So we're not flattening out our back or sticking our bum out or letting our chest pop out. And just breathing here, outer upper arms, your triceps wrapping in. And exhale, release them down by your sides. Again, nice deep inhale, arms overhead. This time, interlace your fingers and flip your palms inside out. So your palms are facing up to the sky, but making sure that that didn't just cause your rib cage to pop out. So keeping your core slightly engaged so that your low ribs are still knitting together. And think of your pinky fingers rolling down back, like towards the back of your head as your palms press up, but your outer upper arms, your triceps still really wrapping in. And exhale, release your hands down to your side. And again, nice deep inhale, arms come out and up overhead. This time interlacing your fingers, but put the opposite, like pinky forward. So probably the one that feels a little awkward. Flipping your palms inside out again. Outer upper arms wrapping in. Shoulders moving away from your ears and your shoulder blades gently pulling together down your back. So you're not forcing them together, but they're pressing forward slightly into your rib cage, and then the centers are coming together slightly. And unwind your hands, exhale, down to your side. Moving into a twist. So inhale, arms out and up, stopping shoulder distance apart. And exhale, left hand comes forward, right hand comes back, twisting to the right. Still sitting up nice and tall, so we're not arching our back or, twisting our arms way sideways, but just twisting as much as you can right from your middle. Maybe you can gaze back over your right shoulder. Inhale, arms up to center. And exhale, twisting to the left. So right hand comes forward, left hand goes back. And again, not like yanking yourself, but just twisting however far you can twist from your core, and then bringing your hands down wherever they land. Inhale, arms back up through center. We're going to twist again to the opposite side. So right hand comes behind you, left hand in front. Twisting to the right, sitting up nice and tall. So we're reaching out through the crown of your head. Sits bones, pressing down into the floor. Inhale, unwind. And exhale, twisting to the other side. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, hands down by your side. So now resting your hands just on your knees or your thighs, we're going to do a seated cat-cow. So inhale here, and then exhale, think of pulling your belly button to your spine, rounding your back so that you're looking down like towards your feet, shoulders over top of your hips, really stretching through your back. And then inhale, sitting up nice and tall, finding a little back bend here. So collarbone broadens, you can look up, tailbone lengthens towards the back edge of your mat, and then exhale, belly button to spine, chin to chest. Seated cat, looking at my cat. Inhale, broadening through your collarbone, coming into a seated cow. One more time, exhale, cat, moving with your own breath. And inhale, seated cow. Exhale, back up to neutral spine. And then go ahead and come up to all fours. So wrists right underneath of your shoulders. Wrist creases parallel or slightly turned out to the front edge of your mat. Arms shoulder distance apart. And these are hips distance apart and right underneath of your hips, so they're not way out here they're not touching. And then feet right behind your knees. We're going to inhale, and let's start just lifting your left leg up and back behind you. Your right leg. So toes and knees pointing down towards the floor, really pressing the floor away with your hands, like your palms were suction cups. Outer upper arms, triceps wrapping in, and then still having that neutral spine. So your front hip points are lifting up towards your low ribs. You're not dumping in your back. The inner right thigh lifting up towards the ceiling so that your leg's not twisting out to the side. And exhale, lower it back down. Inhale, left leg up and back behind you. So toes and knees pointing down towards the floor. That inner left thigh lifting up towards the ceiling. Hip points lifting towards your low ribs. Pressing down to the floor with your hands. Triceps wrapping in. Exhale, lower down. Okay, so we're going to lift our left arm in front of us, right to shoulder height. Tricep wrapping in towards our face, so our pinky is down towards the floor. Still looking down, neutral spine. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, our right hand up in front of us. Pinky down, so palm facing the midline like you were reaching out to shake someone's hand. Exhale, lower it down. Adding those together, so inhale, right leg, left arm. Forward and up. Still finding that neutral rotation, so your inner thigh reaching towards the ceiling, tricep wrapping in towards your face. Exhale, lower it down. Other side, inhale, right arm, left leg. Keeping that neutral spine. So again, just not dumping into our low back, but keeping our hip points lifted towards our low ribs. Exhale, lower it down. Let's flow through this with our breath. So inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, Opposite side, right arm, left leg. Exhale, lower. 2 more times each side, going at your own pace. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Taking the full breath to make the movement. Last time on each side. All right, coming back to all fours. Walk your hands forward slightly so you have enough room on your mat. But we're going to extend your right leg behind you, pressing the ball of your feet down to the floor, and then extend your left leg behind you, so you're in plank pose. So here, your front hip points are still lifting up toward your low ribs and broadening through your collarbones. So your shoulder blades gently pulling together, pressing forward into your ribs. You can always be down on your knees here. If you need that option, that's totally fine. Again, make sure you're listening to your body. One more breath here. We're going to hinge forward slightly, so your shoulders come over your fingertips, outer upper arms wrapping in, and lower all the way down to the floor. Making sure your wrists are right underneath of your elbows, so our hands aren't way far back, they're not right up here under our shoulders, but right underneath of our elbows. Pressing down through the tops of your feet, lifting up on your thighs, tailbone lengthening down towards the backs of your knees. Inhale, chest, collarbone lifts up off the floor for baby cobra, baby bhujangasana. So our low ribs are still down on the floor. Back of our neck's long, so our gaze is a few inches in front of our mat. We're not cranking our head up. Exhale, lower down. And again, nice deep inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra, maybe pressing up a little bit more. So our tailbone still lengthening back, our front hip points lifting towards our low ribs. That's super important here, so we're not just dumping in our low back. Exhale, lower back down. This time, tuck your toes under. Really press down through the balls of your feet as you lift up on your thighs. Wrist still right underneath of your elbows. We're going to exhale here. You can always leave your knees down on the floor. Inhale, pressing into your hands, coming back into plank pose. One breath here. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. So hands are still shoulder distance apart, maybe slightly wider here if you're tight through your chest and your back. Feet are hips distance apart. Pressing down through your hands, triceps wrapping in, broadening across your collarbone evenly as your shoulder blades move together in towards your ribs. Bending your knees so that you can lengthen your tailbone up and back behind you. One more breath here. Walking your hands back to a forward fold at the back of your mat. Knees can be bent here as much as you need them to be. And then go ahead and just grab opposite elbows, releasing your back. Gently sway from side to side. Release your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. So reaching the crown of your head and both sides of your rib cage forward. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, arms out and up, sitting all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale right away, folding forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, walking your hands out, plank pose. Pausing here. Inner thighs lifting up as your front hip points lift towards your low ribs. Hinging forward slightly. Exhale, chaturanga, lowering all the way down to the floor. Uncurl your toes. Inhale, baby cobra. And exhale, lower down. Setting up for upward facing dog. Pressing down into the tops of your feet, lifting up on your thighs, tailbone lengthening back, just like we did when we did that larger cobra. Hands are shoulder distance apart, but back underneath of our elbows. So exhale here. Inhale, press down into your hands, lifting up, upward facing dog. Shoulders right over top of your wrists. Tailbone lengthening back, broadening across your collarbone. Your sternum moving forward through your hands or through your arms. Breathing here. One more breath. Lifting from your inner thighs, come up and back, downward facing dog. Pausing here. Go ahead, place your knees gently down to the floor. We're going to step our right foot up to the inside of our right thumb, finding a low lunge here. You can uncurl your back toes. So your feet are hip distance apart, or that knee and your right foot hip distance apart, but spread out. Outer hips really hugging in here, gently allowing your hips to come forward. So we're feeling maybe a bit of a stretch here through that left hip flexor. Come up onto your fingertips so you can broaden across your collarbone. Again, shoulder blades gently squeezing together. One more breath here. Think of your Ardha Uttanasana here. So it's that same lift. Exhale, place your left hand down just underneath of your left shoulder, and keeping your outer hips hugging in, we're going to inhale, twist to the right. One more breath. Think of your inner thighs squeezing together here. And exhale, unwind. Let's step our right foot back, left foot forward. Same thing on the other side. So that knee and that foot are hips distance apart. Letting your hips fall forward slightly so you're getting a nice stretch through that right hip flexor. Outer hips hugging in. Tailbone really lengthening down towards the back of that knee. Coming up on your fingertips. Broadening across your collarbone. Again, finding that same feeling of our Ardha Uttanasana here through our spine. Pressing down through all four corners of that left foot. One more breath. Let's bring our right hand right underneath of our right shoulder and inhale, left hand reaches toward the sky, keeping that left hip hugging in so we're not letting it fall out to the side. One more breath. Exhale, unwind. This time step it back, downward facing dog. One more breath here. The bottom of your exhale, look towards your hands and walk your feet forward to a forward fold at the front of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, hands down by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Taking a moment here in Tadasana. So feet hips distance apart, heel right behind your second toe, so your feet are parallel to each other. Press down through all four corners of your feet as you lift up from your quadriceps and your kneecaps, lifting up. Tailbone lengthens down, broadening across your collarbones, hands by your side. Take a breath here, standing up nice and tall. Inhale, arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, let's step our left leg back to the back of the mat. So we're in a low lunge, finding our Ardha Uttanasana, that broadening across our collarbone, the length through both sides of our torso here. Exhale, stepping your right foot back, Chaturanga, all the way down or halfway. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, lifting from your inner thighs up and back, downward facing dog. Pausing here. One more breath. Exhale here. Inhale, right foot steps forward between your hands. Exhale, left foot meets it, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, right back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, right foot steps back, broadening across your collarbones in this low lunge, lifting that back inner thigh. Exhale, plank, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pausing here. Pressing down into your hands, finding length through your spine, lifting your tailbone up to where the wall and ceiling meet behind you. Exhale here. Inhale, left foot steps forward, broadening across your collarbone. Forward fold, exhale. Inhale, arms out and up, or Vasana. And again, exhale, forward fold. And then just step it back this time to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up and back. So right to hip height, it doesn't need to come any higher. We're keeping our hips neutral, so like our hip points pointing down towards the floor. Lifting from that inner right thigh, just like we did in the alternate arm leg raises at the beginning. Pressing down through our hands, pushing the floor away, lifting up to our forearms. Exhale, step your right foot into the inside of your right thumb. We're going to heel toe our right foot over to the midline, spin our left heel down, so we're lined up heel to arch here. That back, the whole leg, toes and knee pointing like up towards the left. Inhale up, warrior two. So that front knee comes right over top of your front ankle there. Lifting our front right hip point away from that thigh bone so we're not dumping into our hips. Tailbone lengthens towards the floor. That inner left thigh wrapping in. Arms out to a T. You can gaze out over your right fingertips if that feels right in your neck. Breathing here. Really pressing down through that outer edge of your left foot as your inner left thigh wraps in. And exhale, reaching your right fingertips towards the right, coming into side angle. So you can bring that right elbow down to your thigh as your left arm reaches up and over. So nice and long from your fingertips down to the outer edge of that left foot. Now your tailbone's pointing down towards that back heel. But finding length evenly through both sides of your rib cage. So we're not rounding our spine, but lifting up through that right side of your ribs. So let's reach our left hand up towards the sky, right over top of your shoulder. And then straighten your right hand. If you can bring it down to the floor and still have the right side of your body nice and long, you can do that. Or you can just have it hover right here to the inside of that right leg. But we're gonna exhale here. Inhale, press to the ball of this right foot, and then lift up on that right quadricep to straighten our right leg. Coming into Trigonosumo triangle pose. You can gaze up at your left hand, breathing here. One more breath. Exhale, look down towards your right hand. And inhale, warrior two. Exhale, hands come down to frame that right foot and step it back, downward facing dog. One more breath here. Inhale your left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Toes and knees pointed down towards the floor. Inner left thigh lifting up towards the ceiling. Outer hips hugging in. Nice and strong. Pressing the floor away with your hands. Exhale, stepping your left foot to the inside of your left thumb. We're going to heel toe our left foot over to the midline, spinning your right heel down. So toes and knee pointing up towards the right side of your mat. Lined up heel to arch. Inhale up, warrior two. Again, lifting that left hip point up and away from your left thigh bone so we're not tilting our pelvis forward. Shoulders square to the side and right over top of our hips. So again, not leaning forward or back. Arms out to a T, lifting from that inner left thigh up and over so that our left knee is pointing out over top of our second toe of our left foot. Pressing down through the outer edge. That right foot as that inner right thigh spins in. You can gaze out over your left fingertips and breathe here. One more breath. On an exhale, left fingertips reach over to the left, placing your elbow down to that left thigh. Right hand comes up by our ear, so that tricep still spinning in like we're closing off our armpit here. Long line from our right fingertips down to our right heel. Length through both sides of our torso. So again, not rounding through our back, but creating space between our left hip and our left low ribs. One more breath here. Inhale your right hand right above your shoulder. Straighten your left arm down to the inside of your left ankle. Exhale here, inhale, press through the ball of that left foot, lift it up on the quadricep of your left leg, coming into Trigonosumo triangle pose. So that left glute cheek wrapping under, lifting up on that thigh, maybe pressing this calf forward into the shin a little bit. One more breath. Exhale here. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, hands come down to frame your left foot and step it back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Inhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Exhale, holding here, setting up. Feet are hips is apart, outer hips hugging in. Inhale, arms forward and up. High lunge, Anjaneyasana. So a little bend in that back knee so we can lengthen our tailbone down, lifting our hip points up. Exhale here, inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten outer hips, hugging in. Inner thighs squeezing together. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Holding here. Inhale here. Exhale, right hand comes behind you, left hand in front of you, finding a twist. So your outer hips are still hugging in. So your hips are staying stable. So the twist is coming from your spine. Lifting up on that back thigh, back heel reaching back behind you. Inhale, unwind, arms come up. Maybe your palms come together and touch. If you have any discomfort in your shoulders, that might not feel right in your body, and that's fine. You can leave them shoulder distance apart. Then maybe gazing up towards your thumbs, little back bend, coming up through your thoracic spine, so your tailbone is still lengthening down. Inhale, back up. We're going to spin our back heel down so that our toes and knees face out towards the top left corner of our mat. That inner left thigh is still spinning in as you press down to the outer edge of that back foot. So we're now in warrior one. Exhale, hands come down by our sides, and you can interlace your thumbs behind your back, or if you can interlace your hands, you can do that, just like we did in our warm-up. Rounding through your collarbone, and exhale, hinging forward, humble warrior. Arms come up and over, hips still really hugging in. Breathing here. That outer left or inner left thigh still wrapping up. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, hands to the floor, back heel pops up. Step it back, downward facing dog. One more breath here, and then we'll do the other side. Inhale, left foot steps up to the inside of your left thumb. Exhale here, setting up for our high lunge. And inhale, arms forward and up. So reaching back through that back heel, hip points lifting up fiercely. So a little bend in that back knee so we can protect our low back by keeping it nice and long. Arms shoulder distance apart, pressing down through the all four corners of that front foot. Inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, bend. Outer hips hugging in, inner thighs hugging towards each other. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Last one. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Reaching back through that back heel. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale, twisting towards the left. So hips are staying stable. The twist is coming from our spine. So make sure your arms are like right out from your shoulders, so that we're not twisting from our arms. They're just sort of following the twist. Lifting up on that back thigh. Exhale here. Inhale, unwind. And then if it feels right in your shoulders, you can bring your palms together. And on an inhale, maybe find a little back bend here, gazing up towards your thumbs. Exhale, coming back up. We're going to spin our right heel down. So we're pressing down to the outer edge of our right foot, lifting up so that back right thigh is spinning in. Exhale, hands come down by our sides and extend behind our back. You can interlace your hands here. Inhale, stand up nice and tall. Exhale, humble warrior, folding over that left leg. Still pressing down to the outer edge of that right foot. One more breath. Inhale. Warrior one. And exhale, back heel spins up. Hands come to frame the left foot. Step it back. Downward facing dog and pause. Inhale your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. And exhale, step it to the inside of that right thumb. Reaching your left heel back. Inhale, arms forward and up. Anjaneyasana, high lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center. Really lengthening your tailbone down. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. We're going to exhale, twist towards the right. Outer hips, inner thighs still really hugging in. And then exhale, hinge forward, bringing your left elbow to your right knee. So again, the twist is coming from our spine. We're not like yanking our elbow over there and like pressing ourselves up as much as we can, but just twisting and then bringing that elbow down wherever it lands. Back inner thigh pressing up into our quad or into our thigh bone. Exhale here. Inhale, unwind, sit up. Bring your weight forward into the front foot. Press down to that right foot. Lift up on your right quadricep. Back leg comes up to hip height. Again, toes and knees spinning down, lifting from that inner back thigh. Back leg nice and straight. Spine long, crown of your head, both sides of your torso reaching forward. One more breath. Exhale, back to high lunge. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Hands come down to frame that right foot. Step it back, downward facing dog. All right. One more side, standing poses. Inhale, your left leg up and back, three-legged dog. One more breath. Exhale, step your left foot forward inside of your left thumb. Right heel reaches back behind you. Thigh presses up into that thigh bone. Inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Outer hips hugging in, inner thighs hugging together. And exhale, twist to the left. And then hinge forward. Elbow just gently lands wherever it lands. Spine's nice and long. The twist is coming from your spine. So not from our hips wiggling out one side or the other. One more breath here. Exhale here. Inhale. Unwind. Hinge forward slightly so your torso comes over top of that left leg. Press down through the left foot, lift up on your left quadricep. Back leg comes up to hip height. So it's neutrally rotated, so it's pointing down. Toes and knees point down to the floor. Inner right thigh lifting up. Spine's long, hip points lifting away from your thighs. Pressing down through all four corners of our left foot. exhale, reaching that right foot behind you, nice and controlled. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, hands frame the left foot, step it back, downward facing dog. Taking a moment here. Inhale forward, plank pose. So shoulders over top of our wrists, spine's long, hip points lifting towards our low ribs. Hinging forward slightly, and exhale, chaturanga, outer upper arms really wrapping in here, lowering down. All right, so let's bring our hands down by our sides. Your chin or your forehead is on the mat, whichever is more comfortable for you. Palms facing in, so towards your hips. We're going to do a half Shalabhasana, starting just with our upper body. So tops of our feet where your shoelaces would be, pressing down to the floor. So lifting up on your thighs, front hip points lifting towards your low ribs as your tailbone lengthens down and back. Exhale here, inhale, chest, shoulders, arms, head, all lift up. Back of your neck's nice and long. Breathing here, pressing down through your feet. See if you can think of all 10 toes touching the floor. And exhale, lower down. So second option. Exhale here, inhale, chest, arms, shoulders, head lift, and then maybe your feet come off the floor. So right now, the only thing touching the floor would be like your pelvis. So lifting up. Exhale, lower down. So you can stay with either of those first two options, doing whatever feels right in your body, or you can bend your knees in, keeping your outer hips hugging in, your inner thighs reaching up, and reach back with your hands and grab for let's do the outsides of your ankles. So palms still facing in. You can flex your feet or have them pointed. Exhale here, inhale, everything lifts. Think of your belly button pulling in towards your spine as you broaden through your collarbone, low ribs lifting away from your sacrum, shoulder blades gently pushing forward into your rib cage, inner thighs spinning up towards the sky, tailbone lengthening towards the back of your knees. Breathing here, and exhale. Lower down, release your hands, release your one cheek to the mat, and then windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Then you can switch to the other cheek. Release your legs down. Just pause here for a moment. Take a breath. And bring your hands shoulder distance apart, scooch them back, wrists right below your elbows, press down through the tops of your feet, and press through your hands, just come through all fours. Pausing here, spine neutral for a moment, and then exhale, hips back, child's pose. Walking your hands back, we're going to spin our legs just out to one side, coming in front of us, making sure you have enough room behind you on your mat. We're not going down to the floor completely just yet. So feet in front of you, hips distance apart. So really, again, hugging your outer hips in, inner thighs spinning down, pulling together, toes and knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And actually, we're probably going to point our feet here, but we want them, like the tops of our feet, pointing up to the ceiling, not letting them fall out to the side. Our hands are going to come behind us, right underneath of our shoulders, fingertips pointing towards our bones. So it seems like if we were in downward facing dog, but they're behind us. So a nice modification here would be to bring your feet flat to the floor, hips distance apart, or you can have them extended in front of you. You're going to exhale here. Inhale, press into your hands, and lift your hips up. You can bring your neck back or keep your chin tucked to your chest. But we're lengthening our tailbone towards the backs of our knees, lifting our hip points towards our low ribs, making space between our low back ribs and our sacrum, inner thighs rolling down towards the floor. One more breath, and exhale. Hips come down to the floor. Sit up nice and tall. One more breath. Let's bring our right foot in flat to the floor to the inside of our left leg. Sit up nice and tall here, and exhale. Twist to the right. You can gaze back over that right shoulder. Inhale, unwind. And then gently allow that right knee to open out to the right, bringing the sole of your foot to the inside of your thigh. Sit up nice and tall here. It might be beneficial again to sit up on a block. Inhale and exhale, walking your hands forward, hinging forward from your hips, your pelvis. So not just rounding through our back, but finding length here. That left knee might need to bend a little bit. But making space through your spine. One more breath. Inhale, walking your hands back up. Use your hand to bring your right knee back to the center. Extend it. Bend your left knee in. Sitting up nice and tall. And exhale, twisting to your left. You can look back over your left shoulder. One more breath. Inhale, unwind. Gently allow that knee to open out to the left. Sitting up nice and tall, and then exhale, hinging forward from your pelvis. Maybe you need a little bend in your right knee. That's fine. But spine's long. Making a little more space on each breath. Inhale, walking your hands in, sitting up nice and tall. Using your left hand to bring your left knee back to the middle. Extending it. Coming down to our backs. You're going to plant our feet down to the floor, about hips distance apart. Heels right underneath of our knees, and feet parallel to each other. So your heels right behind your second toe. We're going to do a few options. We're going to do at least 3 or 4 of these, so just be prepared. But again, I'm going to give you any options. Stop at the option that feels best in your body. It's better for you to work where you are today than push yourself and go too far and not do something properly and risk injury or just putting your body in like a compromising position. So again, just work where you are today. Pressing down through the soles of your feet. Let's hold on to the outer edges of our mat with your hands. We're going to exhale here. Inhale, lifting up through your hips, coming into a bridge pose. Using your hands here, holding the mat kind of as leverage so your outer upper arms can wrap in. Making space across your collarbone. So tailbone lengthening towards the backs of your knees. Making space between your low back and your low ribs. Pressing your shoulder blades forward into your rib cage. And then maintaining space between your chin and your chest. Pressing down through all 4 corners of your feet, inner thighs wrapping down. And exhale, lower back down to the floor. So your next option, again, you can stay right there. We're going to exhale here, inhale, press through our feet, lifting our hips up, remembering all those same actions through our spine. So inner thighs wrapping in and down, outer hips hugging in, tailbone lengthening towards the back of your knees, space between your sacrum and your low ribs, space across your collarbone. You're going to clasp your hands behind your back and then maybe walk your arms in. So not like forcing anything here, but just using that to create space. Pressing down through your feet evenly, tailbone really lengthening towards the backs of your knees. Okay, unlacing your hands if they were laced, walking your shoulders under, lowering your hips down to the floor. All right, so again, I urge you to stay with either of those two options if that's where you are today, and work there. Otherwise, we're gonna do wheel pose. So this one is a little tricky, so it's important that you know, you listen. And again, really listen to your body, making sure that we're not doing anything that's gonna jeopardize that. So, hands, if you're taking wheel. If not, you're gonna stay in one of those bridge poses we just did. But, and this is Vasana. Hands are gonna come by your ears, and then palms to the ground. It's really important that your outer upper arms wrap in here. Same actions in your spine. So pressing down through your feet, exhale here. Inhale, hips lift up, bridge pose. Exhale here, come up to the crown of your head, pressing down into your hands. No weight is in the crown of your head here, just lightly touching. And then press through your hands, coming up into wheel or upward facing bow pose. So your outer upper arms wrapping in. And then again, inner thighs wrapping down towards the floor. Tailbone lengthening towards the back of your knees. Hip points lifting up towards your low ribs. Broadening across your collarbone. Shoulder blades moving forward into your ribs. One more breath. And slowly chugging your chin to your chest. Lowering down. Take your hands up towards the sky and just make them like limp spaghetti. And just kind of let them hang there for a minute. And then gently windshield wiper your legs from side to side. We're going to do this one more time, again, making sure you're taking whichever version feels best in your body. So feet hips distance apart, parallel to each other. Heels right underneath of our knees. Hands come up by our ears, outer upper arms really wrapping in. Pressing down through your feet, lifting your hips up first, coming into a bridge pose. Setu Sarvangasana. Inner thighs wrapping down, tailbone lengthening towards the back of your knees. Start that action now before we come up. Again, you can stay right here. You're gonna press into your hands, come up to the crown of your head, not putting any weight there, but just pausing for a moment, pressing into your hands, outer upper arms wrapping in, making space across your collarbone, pressing down through your feet. One more breath. Exhale, chin to your chest, slowly coming down to your shoulders. Again, finding your wet spaghetti. Gently windshield wipering your legs from side to side. Okay, release your hands down by your side. And then let's just extend our legs towards the ceiling. Heels right over top of our hips. One more breath here. Let's bring your feet back onto the floor. And let's cross our right ankle over our left knee. Finding a little figure four here. If you want a little bit more, you can bring that left knee towards your left shoulder, interlacing your hands behind your left hamstring. Releasing your left leg back down, we'll take the other side. So left ankle over right knee. You can pause right here. And releasing your hands behind your right hamstring, so that feels right in your body. You need a little bit more. Release your right foot down to the floor. Uncross your feet. Let's bring your knees right over your hips, legs to sort of tabletop, and then arms out to a T or goalpost, whatever you have room for. Bring your hips slightly over to the right, and then allow your knees to fall over to the left. Just taking a little twist here, pretty quick, just to release our spine before we move into Shavasana. Making sure your shoulder blades are staying on the floor here. Inhale your knees back up through center. Gently move your hips over to the left, and then allowing your knees to fall over to the right. Inhaling your knees back up through center, and then making your way into Shavasana, final relaxation pose. So you can just lay on your mat, maybe if you have props, any like blankets, pillows, blocks, you can put them behind your knees, that might feel good. But just finding a spot where you can allow your body to feel heavy, get out any last minute fidgets, allow your breath to be natural. We want to just slowly and intentionally try and clear our mind. If any thoughts pop into your head, you can just kind of let them drift away. We'll spend a few moments here. You're welcome to stay here in Shavasana as long as you'd like. But when you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back to your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And gently hug your knees into your chest. Roll over slowly to one side. Using your top hand, press yourself up to a seated position. Again, my name's Joella. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed your practice. Thanks so much. Namaste.